Ramesh Balsekar explained the mind in two ways. So he said that mind has two characteristics. One is the working mind, and the other is the engaged mind. Now, while the working mind helps us to be productive in our work, the thinking mind obstructs our creative center and it stops us from tapping into that creative potential. And that's why we cannot give our best, because the thinking mind is always concerned with the outcome. The working mind is an engaged mind, whereas the thinking mind is an involved mind. Now, there is a difference between the two. Engagement is simply being absorbed in the work at hand. So, what happens is that when the mind is fully engaged in a task, it is free of all the noise. So, say for example, you're doing a piece of work and you're completely absorbed in that piece of work. So, your mind is contemplating steps, it is formulating tricks and strategies to execute what needs to be done in the moment. It is not concerned with how the work will be perceived or how effective it will be. That is what the thinking mind does. Say, for example, if I write an article, the thinking mind comes up and says, how the article will be perceived, how many likes will I get on social media, what the critics will say about my article, will the people approve of my views or not. So, all that is background noise. And thinking mind is the ego mind. So, it is always concerned with the future outcome. But the working mind is a completely different quality. Working mind is absorbed in the moment, it is focused in the now. So when you are free of the thinking mind, your working mind is doing its best, because you've just narrowed your thinking, you narrowed the whole process of execution into a small area, and you're just focusing on a task at hand. So you see, the working mind is convergent. It is taking up all the resources and it is converging to a particular point, which is helping you to execute the task that is at hand. Now, that can be anything like writing an article, or or it can be any creative pursuit like drawing, painting, dancing, or any skill. The thinking mind is concerned with the outcome, and hence it is the convergent mind. Means it is just running in all different directions, and a chain of thoughts is established with the thinking mind. First, I become concerned with how my work will be perceived. Then I become concerned how I will be perceived. And in that whole process, I just block myself and I never even execute the action. And that is why most people procrastinate, because they have habitually developed their thinking mind to such an extent that they are always concerned about the outcome, knowingly or unknowingly. So whatever they take up, the outcome is always on their mind. To be free of the thinking mind is to be the most creative. And this message of non-doership frees one from the thinking mind. Now you don't have to do anything to be free of the thinking mind. You just have to see it for what it is. Because at some level you are aware that the thinking is happening within you. The problem is that you think of it as a problem. But you see, that thought that my thinking is a problem is just an additional link to the chain of thinking. It is a part of the problem, it is not a solution. So when you try to find solution for this problem of dealing with the thinking mind, a lot of resources come up on the internet. There are guided meditations. Meditation in particularly is presented as a fix for the thinking mind. Now, when you're doing meditation, of course it feels good, because for some time your mind, it does become quiet, and maybe it does help you to become productive throughout the day. But the thinking mind still returns. It comes back because the sense of doership is not completely eliminated. So till the doership returns, what doership means is that I am the doer of my actions. Till there is a doer, the attachment to outcome will always remain. And that becomes the problem. But once you accept that it is the universe's energy that is executing through me, and this body mind organism is just an instrument of execution, that is complete surrender to the will of the universe. So what you become is you unleash your full creative potential, because now the noise of the thinking mind is gone. So something beautiful begins to happen as this thinking begins to reduce, as you become more and more aware of your thinking. And that is the dawn of spiritual awakening. And it is called the witnessing. There is no subject that witnesses. Witnessing is an impersonal phenomena. And the more witnessing happens, the more ego gets exposed. And the more ego gets exposed, the more thinking begins to subside. So what remains is the working mind. But there is a small flip side to this also. And that is that some people, through their conditioning, become workaholics and they become high achievers. But still, they feel a sense of emptiness within. I was speaking to a girl a couple of days back. This very intelligent, smart, young girl, maybe in her late 20s, doing very well and earning a lot of money. I mean, I'm sure most people of her age must be jealous of her, because she was really doing well for her age and experience. But this girl was so restless, so troubled, because she was suppressing her thinking by absorbing herself in work. because she felt that any time she sat by herself, her mind would torment her. So she would just be immersed in the work all the time. The moment she used to get up in the morning, from that time till late at night. So she was compromising on her sleep, on her health. She was experiencing a debilitating anxiety. This girl was absolutely miserable. So, suppression of the thinking mind is not the answer. And that is the mistake that we do in meditation. Because we think that if we meditate more and more, we'll be able to stop our thinking. The idea is of meditation is not to stop thinking. The thinking cannot be stopped. Our biology doesn't allow that. The idea of meditation is to understand our nature, is to understand our relationship with our thoughts. And once this relationship is witnessed in the light of pure awareness, then that attachment to thought and thinking itself begins to break down. And nothing is to be done as such. Any doing will keep the thinking mind alive. Doership is of the thinking mind only. So, see the mind for what it is and allow this message of non-doership to work. And the thinking will begin to subside on its own as the time goes by. Of course, I don't discourage anybody from meditation. I have written a book on meditation. But meditation is not to be used as a solution to curb the mind.